Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. I want you to be rich. Yes, I want abundant financial success for your business. But I don't just care about your business making money. I care about you too. I want you to be rich in happiness, in the impact you make, in your relationships, and in how you give back. I'm Anna. I built my six-figure business as a side hustle while I was pregnant with my daughter in 2016. Now I've helped dozens of women do the same. I'm here to help you build a profitable, heart-centered, fully booked business with the latest tips on sales and visibility, with proven mindset hacks, and sneak peeks behind the scenes with what's working right now in the online space and in my business. Ready to make more money with heart? Let's go. I've been talking about the 3-day work week a lot lately, and so much of this is being able to feel mentally free when you're not working. It's one thing to do all your work 3 days a week, but for those other 4 days, even if you're not working, are you worrying? Are you stressing? Are you having anxiety? I find that often my clients will struggle with, either they're working and feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be working. I should be spending time with my kids or doing this or that. But then when they aren't working, they're like, oh, I should be working. Like our brain is always telling us that we're doing something wrong. And really, we're never mentally free. So I want to talk to you today about how to be mentally free without disassociating, without, what's it called? Like numbing out. How do we truly be mentally free as we're building a business? And a business is hard, right? We are really, the buck stops with us, right? We are the CEO. If we are not moving the business forward and or moving our team forward, the business isn't going to move forward. So it really is a lot of pressure in the sense that it is just us and there's always something to be done, right? Inbox goes to 0 and then it fills with more emails. You launch a program and then another launch is on the horizon, right? You do your sales actions, but then you wonder, okay, because sales actions are ambiguous and you don't know which little seeds are going to blossom. Was that enough sales actions or should I do more, right? You batch content, but then when it plays out, you're like, was that content good enough or should it have been better, right? You name your program, but then you're like, is that a good enough name, right? Like in business, there's no finish line. And this for women that are excellent and perfectionistic sometimes can feel very discouraging if you don't learn to manage your mindset. So I really want to talk about how to feel mentally free while you're working, how to feel mentally free while you're not working. And this is something I think a lot about because I think a big part of my job as coach is to help my clients make a lot of money, but also to feel really good. Because even if you make a lot of money, if you don't feel good doing it, you're going to quit, right? Like they always say in corporate, I don't know if you heard this phrase, but you don't quit your job, you quit your boss. Let me say that again. You don't quit your job, you quit your boss. What does that mean, right? Like people, yes, we want to make money, but we want to feel appreciated. Like think about a work situation and that you had that was really great and positive. I can guarantee you it's probably because you either had a great boss or kind coworkers. The people were kind to you, right? Think about a situation that was bad, probably because your boss was not kind or your corporation was not kind, right? And I really think when we turn into entrepreneurs, we need to remember to be a really kind boss to ourselves, right? To put kind coworkers around us, to have kind business friends and pay for masterminds that the biz besties are high vibe, right? To have great clients. And if they're not a fit, to let them go and really remind ourselves that we are the ones that are in charge of how we feel and that mental freedom. Okay, so I want to talk to you about a few different concepts that we dive in more in the 3-day entrepreneur mastermind, but I wanted to give you a little teaser for them so that you can start integrating and implementing. And if you are joining us in this next round, you can start to already shift your mindset around these. Okay, my biggest practical tip when it comes to being mentally free, not just in my business, but in my life, is to have an exceptional project management system so nothing, literally nothing, lives in your head, personally or business-wise. Now, it doesn't matter what project management system you use. I use Basecamp. You might use Asana. You might use I don't care, right? But the point is that anything that you have to do, one-off or recurring, does not live in your head. For example, in your personal life, for my personal life, I have a recurring task that says take the trash out so that I remember on Tuesdays to put my trash cans out. Otherwise, it'll stress me out and I'm left scrambling. Usually I do it a day early and I'm that girl on the block that has her stuff out a day early, but that means I don't have to worry about it, right? Sometimes even a one-off thing like a birthday party. I put a task for myself to remember to RSVP, to buy the present, all those little things. And some people feel like, oh, when I write everything down, it feels more overwhelming. That's just because you don't have a way to manage it well and sort it by due date and to check in with it often. But don't let that be an excuse for not starting to write things down. The biggest mistake I see women make with this is overusing their project management system in the sense of, I fell into this before, especially when I was using Asana. I don't love Asana. It's honestly not my favorite, but I made so many different Asana boards. And then I realized like, no, I think I just need one Asana board and basically like a really glorified to-do list. Now, even when I use Basecamp, I use like 10% of the program. So often we want to use all of the software. And in so doing, we overwhelm ourselves. You really need a glorified to-do list is what you need. And I find that my team, even as I've grown and scaled, my amazing OBM Lauren, like now that she creates a lot of the systems and SOPs in my business around launches, around potential clients, around current clients, it's still pretty simple and bare bones. Like it's not really fancy. We store most of our stuff in Google Drive, but the tasks with the due dates lives in Basecamp. And so I would just encourage you, don't overcomplicate it. Like Asana is free. Just open it up, make a to-do list and write your to-dos in there and make different sections. Don't feel like you have to have 17 different boards. Now, for half of my clients in the mastermind are done for you ladies. Half of them are coaches or consultants or course creators, right? For my clients that are done for you ladies that are naturally super systems data oriented, sure, make a ton of spreadsheets, make a ton of boards if that's how you think and how your mind works. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, the point isn't to make this complicated, it's to make it effective. And to really have nothing live in your brain so that it's really clear for you. We manage our podcast in a simple area of Basecamp, right? And there's like a little tiny checklist, right? So often we overcomplicate what an SOP is. It really is a little checklist and notes to make it easier for you for next time. Right? So that when you launch, you remind yourself, ooh, I got to prep my waitlist content. Oh, I got to prep my launch content. Oh, I got to prep my cart close content. Like it's just a checklist. It's just a way to make it easier for you to repeat the thing. And so give yourself permission to start writing things down. And if you're not doing either, I would start with business or life. And just give yourself permission to write down, number one, the recurring things like, hey, I record my podcast every Tuesday or whatever it is, right? 2 weeks before it airs. Or maybe it is, so the recurring things, but also the one-off things that happen. Okay, next one, of course, I have to talk about team. And I know you don't want to hear this one, but truly team, I have 3 amazing women working for me. They are just exceptional. And there was an era where I really was wanting to not have team at all, because again, as women that show up as coaches, course creators, like we care for others. And often we end up in this mindset of team is going to be more people I have to care for, more things I have to monitor and control. But if we allow ourselves to be loved and supported, I read the most beautiful Dolly Parton quote the other day. It was like, I wish you, I'm probably going to say it wrong, but like, I wish you happiness and joy, but most of all, I wish you love. And it sounds cheesy, but I feel like that's what my team does for me, is really show me love and care and attention and affection. I'm a very affectionate mother and coach, and I give all of my heart. And so to have a team that's there supporting me and I allow them to support me, it's just so beautiful. And there's no way I could work a 3-day work week and make the money that I do on the stress level that I have without team. Okay, next, a big part I feel of mental freedom is doing my sales actions first, or whatever feels like the thing in my business that is going to generate me money. So maybe it's like opening up my Facebook ads, right? Or following up with leads, or So many of my clients start the day opening their email, caring for current clients. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's like for you, as it is for me, that's the easy part. It's easy to check in our clients. Like I could hang out with my clients all day. Like once I open Slack, I could be there all day, like chatting, right? What I am going to put off is my oxygen mask, the things that matter to me. And so really making sure you're putting in those things first. That way, when you hang up your hat for work for the day, you're able to be like, oh, not only did I care for my current situation, but I'm also planting seeds for the future. Along with this, a big part of mental freedom for me is batching, doing work early, doing it in advance, and just planning for life to life. You've heard me talk about this before, but as a busy mama, I'm never surprised when life lifes, like when something comes up with my kids or the car or what, like for me, that's why I do work in advance and early. Even my kids' homework, right? It's due Friday. We started on Monday. That way, if one of them is resistant, I can be like, okay, no problem. Let's do it tomorrow, right? Doing things early and getting into that habit. And I get that when you're in survival, that's very hard to start doing. So just start in small ways. It also is a change for your nervous system because it's not as exciting. It's much more exciting and adrenaline-y to do everything in the moment. It's really less sexy and kind of boring to do things in advance. But for me, I'll take that trade-off because it means that I also am not stressed. So there's downsides to batching. There's downsides to working in advance, right? But for me, I'll take those downsides. Happy born dream life, hashtag, right? So I would pick like one thing you want to get a little bit better at working more advance on and not go crazy. I think I told you guys that when I started batching during my maternity leave, I was like, I'm going to batch 6 months of content in advance. That was not necessary. I could have done 2 months of batching, right? And maybe you're like, I need to get 4 months ahead. Like, again, like maybe instead of like, maybe currently you're like recording your podcast 2 days before it goes live. Maybe you want to record it 1 week before. Maybe you want to record it 2 or 3 weeks, right? Like just starting early instead of like, again, this like gray, black and white thinking of like, I have to either do it in the moment or batch a ton. And I was just talking to a client about this morning too, about the importance of really letting go of that black and white thinking. And often when you get business advice from male coaches, traditionally, there is this black and white thinking of all or nothing, all in. Or I was talking to a few clients where they felt like in order to hire a team member, then they would really have to stop what they're doing in their business and take a big step back. But for a lot of my clients, again, like me, like they love to be in their business. And so reminding them that there's this gray, like you can hire a team member and you can still support your clients. Maybe they're just helping too, or maybe they're taking the old clients or new clients and you're keeping the old clients, right? Like there's a gray. And I get that a lot of business coaches will say this is like inefficient, but often I find that business advice can be so black and white that we get frozen and don't do it at all, right? Or we try to like batch so much that we're paralyzed that we're like the gray is better than nothing. And I think the black and white thinking keeps us from number one, doing a business model our way, but it also keeps us from starting with where we're at. Okay, next I want to talk about so much mental freedom can come with your client care habits, right? So for me, I keep client care off my phone. I do it from my desktop when I can sit down and really be focused, ending sessions on time, right? If you do sales calls, right after the sales call, write your notes and write your pitch, even if it doesn't get sent out for 2 days later. But really having these little habits for protection. For me, I don't feel like I have very good discipline. I feel like I have a lot of really good habits, right? For me, for the most part, I plug in my phone outside of my room. That way I can go to bed without scrolling. Again, that's not discipline. That's just a habit, right? And so it's almost like trusting that you're not going to have the discipline, trusting that you're not going to have the motivation, and really hacking yourself. And this is so counterintuitive to what so many of you have been doing. So many people guilt and pressure themselves into like, I just need to be more disciplined or more motivated, or like, I don't want to hire a coach for accountability because that will mean that I'm weak or whatever, right? Or, I can't hire a team member. And I have done this before, you guys. Oh my goodness, so many times. I think I told you, like, I had a bookkeeper for a while and then I fired him because I just really felt guilt. Like, I should figure out how to bookkeep. Like, I should figure out how to be in it with my money. Mistake. I learned QuickBooks and still like screwed up my books. So back to having a bookkeeper, right? Anyway, again, I think we tell it like, I don't feel like men for the most part have this problem in business. They're like happy to outsource, happy to let things go, happy to hack systems, right? Instead of making things like a moral failing, right? Like it's okay for me that I really, for the most part, am not motivated to work out at home. I need someone at the gym yelling at me so that I can work out and move my body and be motivated with positive music, right? Like really setting yourself up for success. Okay, the last thing I just want to mention is really knowing that life and business has seasons. And I really try to work in my business and have that 3-day work week year round. But there are chapters where I find that my life ebbs and flows, like something really big happens in life. And so I need to work a little bit less or have my mind there. Maybe I'll like go back to really 2 days working a week. And then other seasons where maybe I'm launching something, maybe I'm working 4 days a week. And I think when I talk about the 3-day work week, people get really rigid about it. For me, if you look at my freebie 3-day entrepreneur workbook, you'll see my calendar. I work about 3 6-hour days, but Mondays and Fridays, I work about 1 hour a day. Because number one, I love to check in with my clients and I just care about them. But number two, it makes it feel like less overwhelming than if I try to like go cold turkey for 4 days. And so again, just remembering that there's an ebb and a flow. Sometimes I'll work like a Saturday morning brainstorming session, right? Like just because you're working mostly 3 days, it's okay to break it and have seasons. And I find that in certain seasons of life, now I have had very extreme things in my life. Okay. I've gone through very complicated divorce and things related to that. I have moved 5 times in 2 years. I have launched my business during my maternity. I have bought a house and renovated a house. So like I've had pretty extreme life seasons like some of you. And in those seasons, there has been times where my business has been a little bit lighter and vice versa. There has been times where my business has been a little bit busier and I have worked out a little less. Maybe instead of like, I'm someone that if I could, I'd work out every day. I know that sounds wild, but I really like my gym. The girls are so positive and that gym has intense workouts, but they also have like yoga nidra, which is just basically a nap. And so for me, I love that. But in really busy business seasons, maybe I'll just be in the gym 2 times a week or 3 times a week. And so I think it's just remembering that there's a normal ebb and flow to life and business and not making yourself wrong for that. Right? We are not a robot. I remember one of my parents mentioning to me, like, I would come home from college and I would just kind of like not want to talk to anyone. And that was like, not being balanced. But really, I find that actually is balance. Like balance sometimes happens each day, but sometimes it happens each season or each month. And it's okay to honor the season that you're in. There's nothing wrong with you for that, for leaning into one more than the other, right? And really finding a way, if you can, to not neglect it completely. Like for me, I might pull really back on my workouts, but I really try to still move my body in some way. Maybe I'm taking a walk with my kids or something, right? I'm still doing my sales actions, but maybe I'm doing less sales actions this week. So that's the key for you. Again, that's the gray. How do you pull back on one thing without going cold turkey, right? Like right now, for me, I'm in a really busy season of launching a brand new mastermind, which I'm super excited about, but I'm not as caught up in my personal finances as I'd like to be. I'm still aware. I'm still doing my check-ins. I'm still paying my bill. Like I'm still doing all the basics. But as far as some of the more advanced things that I like metrics to keep track on, I have this like little net worth tracker that I keep for my personal finances and investments. I am a little bit behind on that, but that's okay for me because I'm doing the bare minimum of awareness with my money, checking my transactions. So it's just knowing for you, what does that look like how do you honor maybe a busy business season or a busy life season without going completely cold turkey? And the reason this ties into being mentally free for me is I really feel like something has to go. We can't go super hard in everything at once, or else that's where we burn ourselves out. Does that make sense? And really allowing enough to be enough and for you to kind of just intuitively know what that looks like. Maybe put your hand on your heart right now. Take some deep breaths and really ask yourself, when it comes to more mental freedom, of all the things Anna talked about, like what's one or two things that I can apply a little bit more? Is it something as simple as, when I'm working, having better boundaries and being less distracted, right? Being fully present during my client calls and allowing myself to enjoy those, right? Like when I am not working, really, I have some of my clients put like a baby blanket over their computer just to energetically close that down and say, that's enough for the day. I'll be back tomorrow, right? Really thinking through some of these big and small systems that make such a difference in feeling mentally free. And I feel like this is so key to the 3-day work week because, again, we're not just working on low work hours, but we're working on feeling good for those 18 work hours a week and feeling good for the time we're not working too. And I find that this makes us more efficient, more happy, and the happier and more efficient that you are, the more money you're going to be making. Okay, sending you the biggest hug. Make sure you check out the details for the new 3-day entrepreneur mastermind that I'm so excited to invite you to. You're also welcome to sign up for a free 20-minute CEO assessment if you'd like to talk through the business model that will get you personally to 6 figures on a 3-day work week. I'm happy to unpack that with you and then help you get clear on the simple actions to get to that business model faster. Okay, sending you a big, big hug. Thanks for hanging out today. Please hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to stay updated anytime a new episode drops. And I would love for you to join me in my free Facebook community. It's called The Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. We discuss the podcast episodes. I regularly go live and do free trainings. And you may even meet your newest biz bestie. So you can join at heartcenteredcommunity.com. It's absolutely free, and I cannot wait to see you in there.